Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers encouraged to take a swing at bringing back veteran starter. The Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line made strides during the 2024 NFL season. But maybe not enough for the team to feel confident about parting with veteran guard James Daniels. That's what ESPN's Brooke Pryor argued when she strongly suggested the Steelers should pursue bringing back Daniels. Daniels is someone the Steelers should absolutely take a swing at re-signing, but he could price himself out of Pittsburgh, Pryor wrote on February 13. The right guard was one of the Steelers' best offensive linemen when he went down with a season-ending Achilles injury in Week 4. Rookie Mason McCormick played well for part of the season once inserted into the lineup, but he struggled against better defensive fronts late in the year. Daniels' injury could keep the market from heating up and make him easier to re-sign in Pittsburgh. The Steelers added Daniels on a 3-year, $26.5 million contract in 2022. In 3 seasons, he started all 36 games in which he dressed. Daniels missed the final 14 regular season games and the AFC wild card matchup because of his Achilles injury. Could Steelers re-sign James Daniels? Pittsburgh entered the 2022 offseason needing to rebuild its offensive line. During that offseason, the team signed both Daniels and center Mason Cole. The following offseason, the Steelers added guard Isaac Seumalo in free agency. Initially, all 3 players offered upgrades. But Cole had a very disappointing second season in 2023, which led to his release last offseason. Although injury-related, Daniels also had a disappointing final year of his contract with the Steelers as well. Since 2022, the Steelers have also made drafting offensive linemen a priority. Last year alone, the Steelers selected linemen Troy Fautanu, Zach Frazier, and Mason McCormick. All 3 could be starters in 2025. With Broderick Jones and Seumalo set to return as well, the Steelers may view Daniels as expendable. If the team brings back Daniels, it will likely be because they share Pryor's concern about McCormick as a 2025 starter. The Steelers drafted McCormick in the 4th round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Although pundits were initially high on him as a potential replacement for Daniels or Seumalo, McCormick wasn't supposed to receive significant playing time as a rookie, but McCormick started 14 games and played 83% of Pittsburgh's offensive snaps during 2024. Steelers not expected to re-sign Daniels, report. Pryor clearly considers Daniels the preferred option. But she added the Steelers could re-sign Nate Herbig or Ryan McCullum for interior offensive line depth if they choose to move on from Daniels. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Jerry Dulac reported on February 18 that's likely to be the case. They are not expected to re-sign 2 of their starting offensive linemen, left tackle Dan Moore Jr. and guard James Daniels, allowing them to enter the free agent market on March 12, wrote Dulac. Dan Moore Jr. has started since his rookie season in Pittsburgh. But his tenure at left tackle has been filled with inconsistency, and the Steelers drafted tackles in the 1st round each of the past 2 years. Without Moore, Jones could flip to his more natural position of left tackle, while Fautanu could anchor the right side in 2025. Moore and Daniels leaving will hurt Pittsburgh's depth along the line. But the team will likely find cheaper options for depth while the youngsters, including McCormick, play more prominent roles. Eagles prove Steelers don't need to tank to land their franchise quarterback in what is now becoming seemingly a yearly tradition. The Steelers' quarterback room is once again the center of attention this offseason. A year of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields yielded some decent returns, but the end results were still the same and this team is still lacking a defined franchise option. While the team could completely rebuild the room or bring back a familiar face, the yearly cycle of what to do at quarterback is limiting this team. Until they confidently have a face for the team, they will be an average team at best. So, how does the team acquire a franchise quarterback? The answers to this question are endless. Many prominent media members, along with an angry mob of fans, insist that you need to bottom out and tank to get a top pick for a quarterback. Others say trading for a known commodity is the best way. Unfortunately, there is no exact science to this. Finding a capable quarterback takes some time and skill and arguably luck. That said, for a Steelers team in desperate need of a facelift, they need to leave no stone unturned. I'm doing my part to help out. I've taken the top 12 NFL.com ranking list of 59 quarterbacks from last season. All of these quarterbacks are naturally seen as franchise options for their respective teams. I've also added Brock Purdy to the list, as he has made the Super Bowl within the last 3 years, and that is the ultimate goal of any team. The list of quarterbacks includes Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Geno Smith, and the aforementioned Purdy. What these quarterbacks tell the Steelers. Long story short, you are likely going to need to use your top pick on a quarterback in order to have a chance to land your franchise option. Sorry to Mike Tomlin and his belief that you don't need to use an early pick to find a franchise guy. The median spot where these franchise quarterbacks were selected was 7th overall. After that, trends get murky. Of the list, 4 of those quarterbacks were selected 1st overall. Unless the Steelers collapse, they won't be picking that high. Thankfully, of the 3 quarterbacks that won a Super Bowl on this list, only one of them was taken in the 1st round. Equally important is the way you acquire your quarterback. The draft has historically been seen as the best way to secure your guy, and the numbers back that up. Only 2 quarterbacks made their way to their new teams via a trade, and as it turns out, both quarterbacks were dealt in said trade. The Rams believed Stafford gave them the best shot for their roster to win the Super Bowl. They were right. Meanwhile, the Lions used all of their resources gained in the deal to build a great roster around Goff, and they now find themselves as some of the top competitors in the NFL. A rare time a trade worked out for both teams. Seemingly the worst way to find your franchise quarterback is through free agency. Smith and Mayfield serve as examples of that. While both have revitalized their careers, neither are seen as premium quarterbacks. Frankly, it seems like both finally found their way into the right system, even if they don't have the tools to be elite. For the Steelers, taking a shot on a failed quarterback would be the best way to find their franchise guy, although I doubt that strategy pans out. Of the players who were drafted by their teams, 2 were not first-round picks. Hurts was taken in the 2nd round while Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant and the last pick in his draft class. While Purdy has defied most expectations, he also benefits from a very quarterback-friendly scheme. I'm extremely curious as to how the San Francisco quarterback room will pan out with him needing a new deal. Hurts, meanwhile, has had to have an offense entirely built around his strengths. While a good player, the Eagles do whatever they can to keep their run game strong to keep the pressure off of him. This isn't to say that you can't get your guy in this range, but you do need to give them the perfect scheme to succeed. That isn't to say that the top quarterbacks don't benefit from good schemes, but they are more flexible with how they can win. Latest Steelers quarterback rumor is what nightmares are made of. If you were hoping the Pittsburgh Steelers would improve their quarterback situation in 2025, you might want to shield your eyes after the latest rumor. Going from a lackluster combination of Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph to Russell Wilson and Justin Fields was a notable improvement on paper. Sadly, this combination still wasn't good enough to muster up a playoff win. On February 18, Andrew Filipponi of 93.7 The Fan suggested that the Steelers could be interested in former Giants and Vikings quarterback Daniel Jones. The Steelers could do a lot worse than Jones, Filipponi posted on X, quoting from his source. This is the last thing every fan wanted to see. Steelers must do better, or worse, than Daniel Jones. There are plenty of Steelers fans who would be fine bringing in Daniel Jones as a backup quarterback, but if the plan is for him to lead this team as a starter in 2025, this would bring next-level mediocrity to Pittsburgh. Jones, a former first-round pick of the Giants, has been underwhelming each of his past 5 seasons in New York, never managing more than passing touchdowns in a season since his rookie campaign. Jones has a career record of 22-44-1 and led his team to a 3-13 record when starting each of the past 2 seasons before finally getting released by the Giants and signing with the Vikings as a reserve QB late in the 2024 season. It gets worse. Jones, an uber-conservative quarterback by nature, has thrown a mere 10 touchdown passes while chipping in 13 interceptions since the 2022 season, and his adjusted yards per attempt have not exceeded 5.62 since 2022. With a lack of big play ability, Jones is the definition of a game manager. The Steelers must do better, and while there aren't a variety of options to pick from, Pittsburgh would be better off running it back with Justin Fields or Russell Wilson in 2025 if Jones was the only other option. Jones' lack of aggressiveness would also feed into Mike Tomlin's conservative game plan, making this team just good enough to earn another .500 record while once again falling short in the postseason. If they don't get better at quarterback, the Steelers would benefit from a more polarizing player like Zach Wilson or Trey Lance. At least rolling with one of these QBs could offer more excitement and could result in bottoming out, allowing Pittsburgh to select a quarterback high in the 2026 NFL Draft. We all witnessed how many years the Cincinnati Bengals were in quarterback limbo with Andy Dalton at the helm, and Daniel Jones is cut from the same cloth. Unless the Pittsburgh Steelers bring Jones on as a backup only, fans should want no part of this nightmare scenario at QB in 2025. And are you a fan? What do you think of the Daniel Jones situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.